Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my updated and refreshed Rogue, Bladedancer, Shadow Master for last Epoch. If you like the sense of feeling like a quick assassin, this is going to be the build for you. As always, I will cover every single facet of the build. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now for this refresh Shadow Master, I have really leaned into more survivability, and you will see that when I break down the skills and passives for the build. We are using Shadow Cascade, we're using Shift, Synchronized Strike, Smoke Bomb, and Shurikens. Now the way this build functions is you want as many shadows on the field as possible, and every shadow is going to use your Shadow Cascade. And we are very, very fast. Everything we do is going to make shadows. Our shift is, our smoke bomb, our synchronized strike. All the main skills are going to use shadows, and you're going to get a buff to your damage because of it. And as you can see, this build is almost a guaranteed crit. Every single time you hit, you are going to be seeing those crits going off, and it's huge AoE. And we are literally just tearing through this. Now, I just power leveled this character. So I haven't had the ability to push corruption yet, but it is going to be, it's going to do really, really well, especially for not even being geared out yet. But as you can see, we are just tearing through this empowered monolith. After this, we'll fight a Shade of Orbis so you can see how single target is. And when you get good at it, you can really aim your shadows to make sure you're clearing the entire screen, because they hit at a pretty wide angle. Take that. Done. Okay. Shade of Orbis time. Jump out of there, Shade. I'm ready. Smoke Bomb for shadows and survivability. Synchronized Strike for more shadows, and we just light him up. Now I should have mentioned you never have to actually cast Shurikens. Those go off automatically when you use Shift. And you almost never have to use actually Shadow Cascade it either by itself without Synchronized Strike. You are dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's look at the skills for this Shadow Master, starting with Synchronized Strike. And pay attention to the order in which I take the nodes, because this is the pathing you want to take. You want to go up and to the left first. 2 into Growing Darkness, 5 into Foreshadowing, 1 into Dark Allies. You want as many shadows as possible, and you want those shadows to do as much damage. Then you want to come to the right, 3 into Dynamics, 5 into Shadow Rush. When you create shadows after Synchronized Strike, it is going to give you health for more survivability. Then you want to come to the left, 2 into Razor Strikes and 3 into Crimson Storm. This is going to give you 15% less damage over time, so you're going to get some damage reduction. Moving over to Shift. Shift does so much goodness for you, it really doesn't matter which way you go first. But for me, I'm going to go to the left first. 3 into Shadow, 5 into Sleight of Hand. Until you have 5 into Sleight of Hand, it is not going to guarantee your Shurikens. Well, it's going to give you your Shurikens, but it's not going to give you all of your Shurikens. Then you want to come down, 3 into Velocity, 3 into Momentum. This is going to be your haste, so it gives you movement speed. 1 into Lasting Presence and 1 into Dancing Shadows. This is how you're going to use Shadow Cascade without triggering it. This is how Shift is going to use it. Then you want to come up, 1 into Unseen Strike and 4 into Consumed by Shadows. You're going to get a 16% kill threshold. So Shift is going to be a movement skill. It's going to make you faster. It's going to trigger Shurikens. It's going to trigger Shadows, which uses Shadow Cascade and gives you a kill threshold. That's a pretty damn good skill. Moving over to Smoke Bomb. You want to come down first. 5 into Lingering Fumes, 1 into Smoke Blades, 4 into Umbral Assault. Now what this is going to do is every second Smoke Bomb is going to give you a shadow. You then want 1 into Concealment, Concealed in Carnage, and then come to the left. 1 into Thick Smoke, 4 into Eroding Fumes, and 4 into Swirling Fog. These 8 points are going to give you 35 to 40 stacks of armor shred to any enemy standing in there. I know it's not a ton, but you will notice the damage increase when you are fighting with enemies inside of your smoke bomb. Moving over to Shurikens, you want to go to the right or down into the right first. 3 into Algritty, 1 into Fan of Blades, 1 into Blade Shield, 3 into Floating Blades, 3 into Bladed Armor. This is going to give you some survivability, and again, you're using Shift so often that this is going to be triggering all the time. You then want 4 into Eternal Blades. This is going to make it where they pierce and just hit the same enemies over and over again. You then want 4 into Arsenal, which is going to give you some shred, and then 2 into Weighted Projectiles, which is going to give you some penetration. Last but not least, your damage dealer, Shadow Cascade. And on here, like other skills, everything is good, so it really doesn't matter which way you go. But I'm going to show you the main difference from the old version. We are taking Crushing Darkness and Flow State. So you want 2 into Dismantle, 1 into Crushing Darkness, and 1 into Flow State. Now these two make it, well basically this makes it where your attack speed no longer scales, which I know sounds weird, but your shadows are going to be using Shadow Cascade, so it doesn't really matter. But it's going to give you a 60% damage multiplicative by taking these two. You then want to come all around the bottom. 1 into Onslaught, 2 into Fight in the Shadows, 2 into Gloomstalker, 4 into Carnage, 2 into Precision. Then come up, 4 into Shadow Torrent, and then 2 into Rapid Expanse. Everything's going to be making shadows, including a 40% chance when your Shadow Cascade kills, and your Shadow Cascade kills everything. Those are the skills. Now let's talk passive points. I'm currently level 87 and I have all the passive points from the campaign. In the base tree, you want 8 into Swift Assassin, 8 into Steady Hand, 1 in the Twin Blades, 4 dual wielding, and 5 into Dodge and Parry. I'll talk Glancing Blow at the end. For Marksman, you want 8 into Focus Fire for dodge rating, debuff, and dex, and then the rest of your points are going to go into Bladedancer. 8 into Cloak of Shadows, 5 into Pursuit, 8 into Once, 6 into Sky for that shadow damage, 8 into Shroud of Dusk, and then we're going to jump these middle sections, 5 into Blood Dance, 5 into Flash of Steel, 8 into Weapons of Choice, this is new, I will explain at the end, 1 into Critical Eye, 5 into All In, 5 into Shadow Master, for that shadow damage, and then I'm currently leveling right now Perfection. 1 into Pack, 5 into Perfection, and then I'm going to put 5 into Confidence, 1 into Exu, 5 into Hooked Blades, and 1 into Argent Veil. That's where my other points are going to go. I'm leveling this top up here. Now, looking at the base tree, 15% Glancing Blow, 16% Glancing Blow, and then right here we are actually using 2 swords, so an additional 40% Glancing Blow, which means your native Glancing Blow is 71%. On top of that, when you get hit, there's a 1 in 3 chance you'll get an additional 5%, and then when you trigger your smoke bomb, you are also going to get Glancing Blow. So you are going to have a lot of the time a 100% chance to minimize your hits by 35%. Absolutely awesome for survivability, and that is the passives. Moving over to everyone's favorite, which is of course gear, and we're going to be starting off with idols. Now, like I said earlier in the video, this character was power leveled and I didn't want to wait on this. If you want to see the actual good idol layout, check out the advanced build planner in the description. Right now I'm using mainly life idols, but there are multiple idols that drop that are double shadow, which means increased damage per number of shadows, increased damage with skills that use shadows, and those are the idols you really want to find, and then you fill in life idols in other places. When it comes to actual gear, there is nothing required for this build. Absolutely nothing. The only unique I'm actually using, which I've turned into a legendary, is a Siphon of Anguish, and this is literally the easiest ring to find in the game because it is a guaranteed drop when you kill a Shade of Oribus, and it helps us because it gives us movement, it gives us leech, and it applies doom to enemies. And like this one, I got physical damage and life on it. So Not required, but it is easy to get, and it is great for this build. Now we're going to go through each item one at a time. Helmet, damage to shadows, dex. Amulet, physical crit multiplier. Armor, dex, health, increased damage per shadow on Shadow Cascade. Belt, physical mana. Ring, mana crit. Ring, physical health. Gloves, dex, area skills, dodge, hybrid. Boots, movement speed, vitality, resist. This happened to roll good, so I just kept it on. It gave us crit multiplier, health, frailty, dex, and 1, 2 rogue skills. It ended up rolling good, so I just kept it for that 16% dex. Now on the weapons, if you are not using 2 swords, you should not take those passive points, which are going to give you 40% glancing blow. But in this case, you want to take critical strike multiplier, you want katanas, and this is crit strike physical, and this is melee crit strike. What you would actually want for your katanas is melee physical and crit multiplier, which neither of these swords are, but they still work fine for this build. That is the gear. Moving over to the character sheet, this Shadow Master is level 87. We have 70 points of dex, 7 points of vitality, movement speed 56, which is going to get boosted to 106 after you use shift. You are a fast assassin. For resistances, fire, lightning, physical, necrotic feel fine, void, poison, and cold all need some work, which should be fine once I actually get the idols and the gear and finish off the passive points. Additional defenses, armor's at 29, and this is going to be over 40 once you're in combat because you're going to be stacking perfection. Dodge 34. When you look at our melee crit base, it is 40%, but this is much higher because you're going to get a crit from your Shadow Cascade tree, which is not included on here. And our critical strike multiplier is 436. You could honestly get this close to 500 to 600 if you have the correct weapons. Physical damage 291, endurance 32, endurance threshold 696, crit avoidance 85. And again, chance to receive glancing blow, which you don't see very often, 71% native. And when you're taking hits or inside of your smoke bomb, this is going to continuously go up every single second. That is the character sheet. So now let's talk sustain. Aaron, this is great, but how do I stay alive pushing endgame content? Great question. We're going to start off with our skills. So inside of Synchronized Strike, your shadows are going to heal you, and you are going to be able to get 3 stacks of Crimson Shrouds, which are going to give you 15% DR. Inside of your shift, not a lot here. You're going to get movement speed and you're going to get some heal every time you use shift. But again, this is going to trigger your Shurikens, which are going to give you a big boost to your armor. On top of that, inside of Smoke Bomb, it is also going to help you with maintaining Crimson Shrouds, and it is going to give you dodge and more glancing blow when you stay in it. So again, your skills are going to give you a lot of survivability. Now, going back to the character sheet, if you are geared correctly and have the right blessings, you should have your resistances at 75. You should have your endurance at 60. You should have your crit avoidance at 100. And again, you are going to be able to maintain glancing blow almost at 100% when you are in combat. Absolute minimum is going to be 71%, which you get from your passive tree. And again, I'm not even there yet on my passive tree, but you're also going to get a boost to your armor and dodge rating through your stacks of perfection, which I am currently leveling right now. And you're very fast. Like there's, obviously 106% movement speed. You're going to be able to dodge a lot of enemies being an assassin. Lots of sustain in this build. Last but not least, let's talk about leveling. Aaron, this is great. How do I get it to end game? Another good question. There's 3 skills I always use to level any rogue. The first skill is Cinder Strike, and this is your actual damage dealer. And honestly, you can use this as a marksman if you want to use a bow, or you could use it as dual wielding. I recommend dual wielding. And all you need to do is stick in these first 3 nodes up here on the top. Fire Shred, base fire damage, and area/multiplicative damage. So I like Cinder Strike. Second skill is, of course, shift, because you need to be able to traverse the map quickly. And what you want to do is get to momentum first, so you are fast, and then come up here and snag your kill threshold. So now you've got shift, so you're moving quick, and you can kill bosses with kill threshold, and you've got your damage dealer in Cinder Strike. The third skill I use is smoke bomb. Gives you a little bit of survivability. You want to go up and get shrouded in darkness, and then you just want to take these 3 nodes right here to give you survivability, duration, and an increase in your damage. Now, with those 3 skills, I want to show you some gear. Everything I am wearing right now, with the exception of the belt is level 12. All of this you can equip at level 7. At level 7. And a lot of this stuff, it is very easy to get legendary potential and make awesome creations from it, okay? This is what, and it all synergizes perfectly. You're gonna run super fast, you're gonna leech, and you're gonna do a ton of fire damage with your Cinder Strike. And when you're looking at this, again, this gear is level 12. Really, it's level 7. Okay, what you're seeing right now is level 7 gear. It's pretty darn good. I like it a lot. And again, you can use a bow or you can use dual wielding, but that is how I would level. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and refreshed Shadow Masters? Or anything I missed? Is there anything I can do to push this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I've earned it. And if I haven't earned it, I'm gonna work harder for you. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 95 members that have signed up. We are approaching 100. It is the best way to support me, and you get the most bonus content. Basically, my Thanksgiving dinner is going up on it today. It's a whole lot of fun, and now we are playing games almost every single night, including a community night that we are setting up. Check out the Patreon. Okay, I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.